Uh, you said that. Uh, you said that, Jenny, and I thought I was prepared, and now I'm prepared. Okay, but it's all good. So, hello, museum families, and welcome to RBCM at Home Kids, a play date through screens across British Columbia and the world. The previous sessions are recorded, and you can find them on our Royal BC Museum YouTube page. My name is Chris O'Connor, and I'm a learning program developer at the Royal BC Museum. The museum and my home is on the territory of the Lekwungen-speaking people, the Songhees and Esquimalt nations, here in Victoria on Vancouver Island. I am an uninvited guest on this territory and grateful to live, learn, and raise a family on this land. And I recommend everyone looks up the website and app Native Land. This app will tell you what Indigenous lands you're on. It's important that wherever we step, that we know where we are. So this has been a challenging year, right? With the pandemic especially, we've all been asked to do many things we didn't imagine we would be doing. And though everyone is doing such a good job, keeping our distance, wearing masks, not going to school sometimes, not able to have birthday parties sometimes, it all can be kind of stressful. So we need to find ways to help with that. And our special guest today has an idea for us all. What you'll need for supplies today it's simple. Today it's just paper. You'll need paper that's in the shape of a square. And you might want to have multiple sheets of paper, but at least one sheet of paper that's in the shape of a square. So let's get into it. Our special guest today is Laura Minta Holland. Laura is an artist educator who's been working in art galleries and museums for over 15 years, presenting accessible art engagement activities for children and adults alike. And Laura and I used to work together for a little bit at the Vancouver Art Gallery. It's so nice to have you here, Laura. So welcome.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, everybody, for joining me this morning. I really appreciate this opportunity. Welcome to my home. I'm here in Britannia Beach, British Columbia. That's on the unceded territorial lands of the Squamish Nation and home to the Britannia Mine Museum. I've invited you here today to share my process and a project that I've worked on through the lockdown. And as Chris said, for me, this really became a process to help me calm myself, to give me some focus, sometimes to meditate on things, because the process to me eventually became very meditative. So I am going to share today a folding of an origami paper crane. You'll see behind me here my 1,000 paper cranes. So the Japanese word for this is senbazuru, which literally means 1,000 cranes. And the process of creating 1,000 cranes has kind of become a tradition in Japan amongst people who are maybe wanting to do a project about peace, about understanding, about creating awareness of maybe somebody's illness, and really trying to work towards the idea that if you create 1,000 cranes, you would get a wish. So, of course, all these bigger projects start with one thing. So we are going to learn today how to make one crane, and then maybe this process for you could become something else. It may grow into 1,000, it might not. You don't have to make 1,000, you can make as many as you like. And as Chris said, it's very simple. You're only going to need a square piece of paper, and any paper will do. It doesn't have to be special origami paper, and it can be of any size. So this is a 6-inch piece of paper.
So Laura, is it okay if I jump in just for a second? Because we have a question from Chloe, and I actually have this question as well, is how long did it take you to make all those cranes?
Really good question. Thank you for reminding me about that. So of course, it's a long process. On average, I calculated it took me about 10 minutes to maybe make each one. I might have been faster or slower at times. And I did actually keep a tally of the cranes here. So you see, I started in April 2020. And then I finished around mid-June, mid to end June. But of course, this wasn't something that I was sitting and doing consistently every day. I was doing a few at once. That's of course why I also needed to keep track of how many I was making, so that I would do them in groups of 10. So I would make 10 and then put those in my little notebook and then put those to one side and have that process to come back to. So that was really why I started in the beginning, because I knew it was something that had the goal of 1,000 if I wanted, but also that I could just pick this up and put it down as a process of the folding without really thinking about it. The goal wasn't really too important, and again, just the process of folding became the more important thing at the time.
Great, thank you.
So I guess the first set that I made took me a little longer, because I made the first set, which is on the kind of far of this display here, of 1,000. I made those in 2008 as a gift for my husband when we were getting married. So that took me even longer because I was actually making those in secret. So he didn't know I was making them, so I had to do them in secret. So I was just working on a project that he didn't know what it was, and nobody else actually in my family knew till the day of the wedding that I had managed to complete the 1,000. So I guess
So the question is, how do you hide 1,000 cranes?
Yeah, luckily they're obviously the small cranes, like a small one like this. So I had those in boxes. So I had those kind of hidden in my art room that I had at home at the time in these boxes. So I'd kind of fold them and put them in the boxes so they were hidden.
Nice.
Okay, so let's get into the folding. So I'm going to adjust my camera a little bit so you can see close up. And we're going to go by step through the process. And I'm going to I'll go slow so that everybody can see and try and follow along. Of course, we can go over this again, and this is great. It's being recorded so that if you ever want to come back and see it again, then of course the instructions are going to be there. So bear with me a second and I'll give you a view now. Start our folding. So hopefully now you can all see this, my square piece of paper. It has got pattern on one side and plain on the other. So if you've got a pattern piece of paper, this is kind of going to be outside, and then the white piece is going to be inside. Okay. So the first fold that we're going to make is you've got...
And so, sorry, Laura, I'm just going to say, if anyone is watching on Zoom or Facebook Live, and you're feeling like you wanted Laura just to slow down a little bit, then that's totally fine. On the chat or the comment section, you can just ask, do you mind slowing down a little bit?
Yes.
Great.
Okay. So the first fold that we're going to make is you've got your square piece of paper. It's going to kind of now look like a diamond. You're going to take the top corner furthest away from you and bring that bottom corner, and you're going to make a triangle. When you're doing your folds, you're going to try and make all the corners and the points line up as straight as possible, and then push away and push down really hard on the edge of the paper. When you're doing origami, it is really important that you do get those lines as crisp as you can, because that's going to help make the shape as you go along with your folds. Okay, so we've all got our first fold. We're down to this size of triangle. So our second fold, Now we're going to take this point and we're going to make another smaller triangle now. So we'll take this point, we're going to fold in half here. We're going to make it join and meet the next corner over here. So you've got that smaller triangle. And push down the lines right to the corners. You can use your finger, push hard down. So now we've got this size of a triangle, right?
Do you want to maybe quickly just go back a couple steps and then go forward?
Yep. So that's it. We have our square. And we're folding that square into a triangle, this size. And we're going to fold again. So we've got this size triangle. Okay. So these maybe feel like a bit of a repeat at the beginning. We're working just through these steps together to get these folds in there. Okay. So our next fold is one more triangle. So we're going to go one more triangle. So you have your open side here. And top is there. So you've got open on one side and it's kind of closed on this side. You're going to bring the closed side over to where those open points are. And then push again. All those down together.
Sorry, Laura, can you do that one more time?
Yep. So here we go. From this triangle, you've got the two open parts on this side, and it's like the closed part here. So you're going to bring the closed part in half all the way over to the other point and press down. And from here, we're actually going to open it up. So we're going to now open it all the way back up so that we can see all those folds that we just made. So if you point the piece of paper towards you, again, you have the open end here towards you. And what it should look like is a diamond. There's two lines here, diamond in the middle with a line down the center. And then you have what look like these two triangle pieces on the side. So if you can see all those lines clearly then, when you've done, if not, you can also go back and just refold those lines if you want to make them a bit clearer for you by just folding them kind of both ways. Right, so you can kind of reinforce those lines. How are we doing?
So I've got mine.
Great.
I see Jaden got it, said that maybe got it wrong. So might need to go back to the beginning.
Yeah.
I think but I think for the most part, I think we probably got it. But if you want to just like quickly do the step.
Yep. I'll do it. Okay, so we're gonna, again, we're right from the beginning with our square. Then from there, you're gonna turn it, turn the paper over, fold that top edge to make a triangle. Then gonna fold in half, right down this line with the outside, over again. And then you're gonna go one more time, over. You have this small triangle. And then you open it all the way back up. Again, you see the lines there. two lines here, so it looks like a diamond in the middle, a line down the middle, and then these what looks like two triangles on the outside.
That's like four triangles in total.
Oh, yes, yes, exactly.
Great.
Okay. So the next step, again, when we're working with the origami and the paper, you will always want what is this open end pointing to you. So where you can open the two flats of paper, that always wants to point towards you. So the next step,
Which with that is a little bit, just, I'm sure it's obvious to everyone watching, but just it's kind of the opposite way with what Laura's doing.
okay, yeah, so maybe I can, if I hold it this way now,
Yeah,
so yeah,
that would be great.
there we go, right. So I'll hold it this way. So this open end now is always pointing to you as you're making. So what you need to do here is you see the triangle on the side. See, if you push its end, it wants to kind of open like this, kind of like a mouth. What you're going to do is push that inside of itself. So push it to a certain point and then the fold will pop inside. So push that down and then you're going to push it away. So now you can't see it. It's kind of hidden in there. Okay. So I'll do that again. Again, the open point is here. You open up this side, it makes this shape. And then the line, if you just keep pushing it gently, it'll pop inside itself and then you fold that back down. Okay, so we're starting to make what is like a square now. So you're going to repeat the same on the next side. Okay. Going to do the same, take that point on the outside, push it, and then push the line inside itself, and it's going to end up like this. How people are doing, I'm trying to keep up on the chat. So now again, you have what is this square? The open point now looks like this. So it has those two pieces that have been folded inside, and then the other piece at the back, and it looks like a square with two triangles on the front.
Laura, do you mind just going back a couple steps just to do those?
That's fine. I'll do that again. No problem. Okay. Okay, we're going from this triangle, this triangle, and we have our two triangle lines here on the side. So what we're doing is we're taking those and we're going to push them into the middle. So you take the outer point of your triangle, you're going to lift it up a little bit, and you see you start to push it and it opens up. And as you do that, you push on that line, that diagonal line in the middle, and then it folds inside itself. There. And then you're going to take that flap and you fold it back down. Again, from the outside, you take the outside point and lift up with it. Then you're going to push along the diagonal line, which is inside itself like that. Fold the flap back down, and now you're at this square. Again, all the open part is towards you. This is what I'm calling the closed part because there's no parts of paper that I can open there.
Great. I think you could probably continue on. It is tricky, but it's just to try to keep trying if you can. All right.
Okay, so so now you have again got this square, triangle, which was out here. Maybe again if I show it from a different angle. The triangle was like this, and we pushed it inside that piece. Again, we did the same on the other side. So it was the triangle was out here, pushed it inside there. So what it looks like again from the end, that's the closed end. And then this is what it looks like at the open end, right? So it's almost like you've made 1, 2, 3 layers. Okay. So the next step, again, you've got the open end towards you. You now take this outside point of that side flap, and that folds to the center line. Okay, so let's see that again. So that was the outside edge. This is where it's open. This outside point folds to the center line. So now it's going to start to kind of look like a kite shape.
Or I was thinking as I was doing that, it made me think of making a paper airplane a little bit.
Exactly, yeah, we'll maybe start to, well, a way to think of it now, what we're doing at this point is we're starting to create what will become half of the wings and then half of the neck and tail of the crane. Okay, so this step to make the kite is just repeated on this side, on the other side. So you again take the outside corner, fold it down, again push those lines down. We've got, really looks like a kite. The other pieces that we can see are at the back. We're going to get to those in a minute. But what we're doing in this step, again, is from the square, and the open end is at the bottom towards you. But the triangle on this outside edge, this point, folds to the middle line. And you repeat that on the other side. Fold the outside edge to the middle line. Again, we've got our kite. Okay. I'm just showing that again. Outside edge there from the square.
And just say, Laura, just a reminder to people that we are recording this. So if this these paper cranes, making paper cranes is about calm, but it also takes time to learn. So not to get too frustrated if you're not getting it right away. You could still watch and sort of take it in, and then watch later to slow it down a bit. But I just do the best that you can with what you have so far.
Of course. So now we've done that step, this is where we are actually now going to turn our piece over, all the way over. So now it looks like a square shape. And we're going to repeat the steps that we just did. So now we've turned the piece over, again, the open end towards you. And then we're taking this outside point and we're folding that to the center line.
Sorry, Laura, do you mind just going back? There's a couple of comments just to ask to go back a couple steps. I know that you will be repeating it, but if you can just go back
Yeah.
just a few steps.
So maybe to this step, do you think?
Maybe one before that.
The one before?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So the one before was we were here with our triangle shape here. Again, open end is towards you. And what we're going to do is take this very far outside corner of the triangle. We're going to push that in towards the middle of the piece. And you're going to then push down on the line. You feel it'll pop down. And then it goes inside the middle. Makes that piece kind of disappear, and we're starting to make this square again. Then maybe holding it up like this. Again, your open end is here. Take that outside point, and again you're going to push that into the middle of your piece. You see the lines that you already folded start to help push into the middle, and then you have that square shape. Okay.
Great, and I see that Oliver did it, so that's great.
Awesome. So now then from here, we're going to start to make our kite shape. So then we're going from the outside here. Now again, the open parts, you've made these again, what look like 3 layers now of back, these 2 folded pieces, and then this front piece. You're going to take the whole part of that, 2 pieces that are folded together, and bring that outside corner to that middle line. Again, push down those creases. And start to make again this kite shape. Here on this side, we're going to do the same. Take the outside point and you're going to bring it, fold it, push it down to the middle line there. Okay, so you should have that kite shape like that. Again, this part should still be what looks like open. Like Chris said, of course, as you're learning something, it takes longer because you need to really concentrate on those, all of these little steps. But as I was talking to Chris when we were beginning, is eventually, of course, if you do enough, you'll get really good at it, and you'll almost not really think of it as steps. It almost just becomes a bit of a flow of a process.
Probably do it in your sleep.
Yes, or as I said to you, that it was hard then to think of how you might break it down back into steps. So, yeah, so again, we've got this kite shape, and you see you've got what looks like this square behind it. And this is where we now need to flip the whole piece over. Now, so that kite part we folded is going to be on your table or where you're folding, and then this other open part is going to be on top. And from there, we're repeating what we did on the other side, because then we're making 2 sides of something, because we're making the 2 wings, and then we're making the neck and the tail of the crane. So we're going to take this outside edge, that outside corner again, we're going to fold it into the middle line. Again, to make our kite shape. Then we've got this one last piece on the outside. Again, folding that into the middle line. pushing those corners down as well. Trying to line it up as straight as you can. The ends. There we go. So both sides now should look like a kite.
And it looks like an ice cream cone now.
Yeah, ice cream cone. So this is still like, this is maybe the front and the back. And then at the sides, you have like it opens like this. Right? Again, this is still what I would call the open end, even though you can't really open it right now, but where all the folded parts are. And again, you've got that triangle at the top, like Chris said, an ice cream cone shape. So our next step is actually just to fold that ice cream shape so we can make a line down this way. Right? And then you're going to open that back up. And if you want, again, depending on the thickness of your paper, you might want to kind of fold that both sides so that that line's very, very folded in there. And then you've got your kite piece like that. Okay. So the next step from here, again, might look complicated. The folds are going to help you. So part of this now is that you are going to open up the piece a little bit more. So you're going to take those flaps that we folded and you're going to actually open those back up. So you'll see it's formed two diagonal lines. And again, this is the open part. So what's going to happen with this step is I maybe, again, we'll go through this one several times, don't worry. So you're going to take that top point and you're going to pull it upwards and start to open it up. You'll see that little line at the back there kind of stops it going very much further. Again, from this end, it starts to maybe look a bit like a beak and it's like opening out. That little line is stopping it going. So what we're going to do here, trying to show from which is the best angle, you take then this outside triangle that we made, and you're going to push that into the center. So it's almost easy, maybe if I, again, I'll show you this way. So what we did, we opened it up here, it stopped at the line. And now as you're holding it towards you, there's those lines at the side. We're going to try and push those down into the middle. So now it creates a diamond like that. Okay, so I'm going to do that again, don't worry. So we went from here, the open part towards you. I'm going to push up that open edge till it stops at that line that we folded. Again, I'll turn it towards you. Then you see now this kind of beak starts to open. You've got these little pieces at the side. They want to come down into the middle. So you want to push on those lines at the side. And it's going to close that diamond. Push all those points down. Push all your lines down. Now you have this diamond shape. We're getting there, don't worry. We're close, people.
We are, just to let you know, Laura, we're just a little over 11:30.
Yeah,
So we can do the rest of the steps. Just if people
yeah.
don't mind holding on just a little past when we usually end, just to finish the few steps.
Okay. So yeah, I'll go a little bit quicker then with these last few, and then so again we made this diamond on this side. So actually your next step is just to flip it over and you're gonna repeat. So you open up these outside edges. The opening edge is towards you. You're gonna lift it up. It'll stop on that line. And then you're gonna push those down like that. Okay, so what you should have closest to you is two pieces like this. And then at the top part is like a triangle like this, and this piece in the middle. Again, it's maybe easier for people to think as you go along now. These are the wings, and now these are going to be your neck and tail of the crane. Okay. So the next step here is again this outside edge here. So the closed part again of the wings part and the legs part should be pointing towards you. And you're going to take that outside edge and it's going to get folded into the center. So it's almost now we're making a smaller kite shape with those open pieces at the bottom. Right? And we're going to do that on both sides here, and then we also flip over and we're going to do the same again. So again, starting from your diamond, make sure that open part is what you're folding, not the top closed part. This outside point gets folded into the center. And that's repeated on the other side there. Okay, so you've got that shape. And like we did earlier, this is where you're going to also now flip over the piece. So you've got this shape. You need to flip the whole piece over to the other side. Again, this is where it's open. Take that outside corner, fold it to the center line. Again, you might have to move the piece around to make it more comfortable and easier for you to fold. It's all right. So now you have this piece. Looks like this on both sides. Everybody's doing great. Again, it is complicated. It's hard to do. Don't worry. Again, with practice, it gets easier. So we've just got, I think, one more step to go really, and it's really you gonna be making the head and tail of the crane. So I think the easiest way to show this again is that it opens like this now. So you have your diamond shape and it opens on the side like that. You open it on the side, and what you actually going to do is we're going to lift up this whole piece that we folded. You're going to push where that line is, you'll see it. And then you're going to push up that whole point that you folded. And that is going to start fold. So go fold along the middle on that line to go in there. And that's then what starts to make the head of the crane. Okay, show that again. Got your flat piece. Taking the very, very end open point, you're going to start to lift it out. You'll see there's a line inside there. It'll fold up to that line, and then you push the two sides together, and those two sides together, and it'll fold, and it'll make what can be your tail or your head. It doesn't matter which way around you do it. Going to repeat the same on the other side. Again, that very long point, you're opening it up here at the side. A very long point at the end. You're going to have to lift that up and away. Lift it up. See, there's this fold inside. It wants to stop right by that fold. As you go up, you then push those edges together. You see, started to make squish. Push the ends together. We've got what looks like a head. If you want to make a little head, you can see the point there. You can just take your finger and part way along, you just kind of push down, and then kind of fold it again together, and it'll make you a little head. Right? So we've got that. A head and a body. Get the body, you just fold down the wings. The side now. Fold them down on the side. And then if you just pull those apart, it makes a little body. So now you have a crane. So, of course, those last steps were a little bit quicker, but you can go back over how you're doing there, Chris.
So I have, it's not as pretty as yours, but I have my crane also.
Awesome. Great.
And I see that as a few different people said that they just finished and they were able to do theirs as well. So well done, everyone. So yeah, thank you, Laura. And it was incredible. Yeah. Now we can play with our cranes. It's really interesting as we're getting close to the end. It really looked like you could sort of see the crane kind of emerge with the final folds. So that was very fun to see that process. And I could imagine it's one of those things that if you keep doing it, you just get into that rhythm of making it. And then, like you said, those 1,000 cranes, just over time, seeing the progress of just making and making and making, and seeing the accumulation of those cranes is part of staying calm and being in a practice of doing something like that. So thank you so much, Laura, for showing us that.
No problem. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. Thanks, everybody, for this opportunity. And again, I know it's difficult, so don't worry. Please come back and watch the video again. Obviously, then, yeah, you can slow it down and take as much time as you need. And again, no pressure that everybody now needs to make 1,000. But also, it's a really nice thing that you could also do with a group of people that you know or your community. And yeah, I think it's just something very simple because it's so accessible. All you need is paper, and you can do it anywhere. You really can do it anywhere. If you start with the small pieces, you can kind of do that anywhere. And you use any paper as well. It's kind of fun to use newspaper or magazines. Also makes it all look different. So it doesn't have to be very fancy paper.
Great. And just off of Karina's message, you can go to our Facebook feed, our Royal BC Museum Facebook feed, and you'll be able to see the recording of this instantaneous. It will just, as soon as we finish the Facebook feed, it will be there. And then also you could do that right away, but also in the coming days, we'll put it on our YouTube page as well. So you'll be able to see it there, but you can go to our Facebook feed right away and be able to see it. So again, thank you so much, Laura. It's such a pleasure to have you here, and thank you for being so patient, going through all the steps of making a crane. And I'm very excited that I have my crane now by my desk. And I only have 999 more to do.
Exactly. That's well, good luck, everybody. Enjoy this practice at home or anywhere. And again, everybody stay safe and love and care out to everybody. And thanks again, Chris, for having me here today. I really appreciate it.
Great. And Jenny just put the link for the American Museum of Natural History has a big tree in their lobby, and they're filling their tree with origami cranes. So it's a whole project they're doing right now. So there's a link in both Zoom and Facebook Live. So if people want to check that out. All right, so thanks everyone. And we'll see you next week for some Emily Carr inspired art too. So, all right, bye for now.
Bye now.
So that just finished the Facebook Live feed.